Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, boys and girls, children of all ages. It's me. I am back again, you lucky people, you. You will notice there's a slight frogginess to my voice. I kind of like it. If I didn't sound so sickly, this would be a really nice voice, nice and deep, without having to stretch the vocal cords. It's almost Christmas time. That's right, that magical time of year when 99% of us go into debt. It's also my favorite time of year for commercials on TV. The ones that show the family waking up on Christmas morning, they bundle up and they go out to the driveway, and congratulations! Merry Christmas! 60 more months of debt and car payments just so you can have a shiny brand new car in your driveway. Aren't you lucky? They never show the aftermath of those, like what happens when they realize that they have to pay for this car. Or my favorite one, I don't know if it's Lexus or BMW or who it is. It could be Mercedes. I don't know. It's one of those companies that have cars that I can never afford in any lifetime. But I'm sure you've seen the commercial where the family shows up at the parents' house on Christmas morning, and they all come out and they're greeting everybody, and in between, a gust of wind comes and blows a big red ribbon off the roof and onto the car. And the father is like, "Oh, I can't believe you did this for me." And they let it go. Now, I don't understand the letting it go part. At what point do you correct the person that thinks they got the car and says, "I'm sorry to let you down or disappoint you"? But it's not your car. It's just a freak of nature. The wind blew. The ribbon landed on my car. And congratulations, you get nothing. I don't understand it. Personally, I don't understand the whole commercializing of Christmas. Do we all like to get stuff? Absolutely. As a kid, I remember sometime around October, probably, the Sears wish book came out. And my brother and I would take turns poring over the pages and circling things of what we wanted and what we thought we were going to get. And usually we got maybe one or two things out of the catalog, especially from my grandparents. But I don't remember it being this big a deal. I'm sure there were commercials on TV. I remember the ones for toys, like Toys R Us and whoever else used to do commercials. I don't know if I want to say KB Toys did one too. But I don't remember. I'd have to look on YouTube to see if that's really accurate or not. But I don't remember being this big thing where you're expected to spend half of your salary for the year buying stuff for people that you don't necessarily like. And you do it more out of a sense of, I should do this because they're my spouse, my cousin, my aunt, my uncle, whoever. Giving should always be from the heart. And it should always be meaningful, not just, "Ooh, look what I got for you." Now, I don't want to speak ill of anybody, but I used to have a mother-in-law that would do that. She would go hog wild on certain children and not on the rest of the children or grandchildren. And I always thought that was kind of, what's the point of this? I don't understand, except to make yourself look good. And I guess that's a thing that people do. They want to have people look at them in awe and say, "Oh my goodness, look at what this person did for their family or for whoever." And I love giving gifts. When I can afford it, I usually go a little bit overboard, and that's fine. Once a year is fine, but not to the point where I'm paying off my Christmas shopping for the next 6 months. I think that's ridiculous, and I think it absolutely misses the entire point of the season. Now, there are going to be arguments on both sides, and I know there are people from both camps or several camps on this about, is December 25th really the birth of Christ? Honestly, no one alive today really knows with 100% accuracy and certainty. Sure, we can guess and we can do all kinds of scientific measurings and extrapolations and say, I saw something the other day where someone was saying that this was the date of the incarnation when he was born. Other people say it has other meanings. And there are people that don't like Christians that say it came from pagan roots, and part of it did. The tree is definitely a Yuletime thing. The fireplace with the Yule log burning, obviously not a Christmas thing. Which brings up another kind of point to say somehow it got confused, and they think that as Christians we only celebrate or we only do things that are in the Bible. And there are a lot of things that are not in the Bible that we do. And I don't think they're wrong or evil or sinful or anything. Let's face it, the Bible was written 2,000 plus years ago. We didn't have the technology we had then. We didn't have many of the modern conveniences back then that we do now. So things like that. So I don't think it's against the Bible to celebrate Christmas at all. I think that if you come at it with the mindset and the attitude that we are celebrating the birth of the Savior, then absolutely go for it. You know, I don't know that putting colored lights and baubles and tinsel on a tree is offensive to God. I don't think it is. I think it's a celebration. I think if that's how you celebrate, that's great. I think you need to be careful what kinds of things you do in celebrating his birth. I think there are probably some practices that are absolutely not at all okay in any way, shape, or form when doing this. But overall, I don't know when Christ was born. I think he was born in the spring based on when animals are newborn and everything. And it was a desert, so it could have been cold in March, you know, when he was laying in the manger. I don't know. I really don't know. Excuse me, I have a sniffle. But I think the important thing, as I said again, is it's celebrating the birth of Christ. Did it come with all these trappings? Absolutely not. It was Mary and Joseph. Basically, what was described, I guess, as a cave is where Christ was born, because there was no room for him because it was the time of the census taking in Jerusalem. And all the families would go with all their people and do the census and be counted for Rome and whatnot. And I know I'm paraphrasing a lot. I'm not exactly sure other than what the Bible says, but it does talk about the birth, and it talks about how it was Mary and Joseph and the baby shivering in the cold and all that, you know, based on one of those popular songs. I think if you're really interested, you should do your own research. Absolutely do your own research and figure out these things for yourself. Don't go by a YouTube video or a Facebook reel or, you know, someone claiming to be an expert that's never opened a Bible in their life or knows anything about anything. They just spout and parrot things that they heard somewhere else. Do I do that? Sometimes. I try not to fall into that trap. I try to be educated and I try to be informed about things, and I will do research before I come here and talk to you. I think that's important. I never intentionally mislead anyone or try to mislead anyone in any way. I always tell you, do your own research. That's honestly the best way of learning something, is to go and read more than one source. Just don't take the first source that you see. Unless it's the Bible, and then I can't argue with that really in any way. But outside of that, look at more than one website. Read some books. Do all the research you can. You know, find experts online that know what they're talking about. People that have devoted a lifetime to the study of these things. I think that's your best option and your best source. All that being said, I think you should have the best Christmas you possibly can within your means. You know, don't go crazy. You don't need to buy the $500 gift for every kid. But I think if you buy things that are done with thought behind it and consideration behind it, and you think there's a reason that they will like this item, then by all means do that. Make them happy. You know, Christmas, I've always said that Christmas is for the children. Does that mean I don't want to get my own gifts? Absolutely not. Excuse me. I love getting gifts on Christmas. I love the idea that someone went and put thought into it and gave me something that they knew or they thought they knew that I wanted. And even if it's not something I was expecting, if there's a thought behind it, I'm still going to appreciate it. For years now, I've had a wish list on Amazon. No, this is not a plug for you to go out and find my wish list. But I put things on there, and I would have people say, well, what do you want? And I say, here's the link. Anything on the wish list is fine. Yeah, but what do you want? Again, anything on the wish list is fine. Because I hate knowing what I'm getting. Unless I know that I really want it, and I tell people, go buy me this specific item, then yeah, I don't expect to be surprised with that on Christmas Day. But if I say, here's a list of 20 things or whatever it is, and you go out and buy one or two or however many of these things that you want to buy from me, with thought saying, he mentioned this, or he wanted this, or, I saw him looking at this in the store, but he wouldn't buy it for himself kind of thing, then absolutely I'm going to be surprised, and I'm going to be appreciative, and I'm going to love whatever it is you buy from me. If you just go through the store and throw random crap into the shopping cart, I will still appreciate it, but probably not as much. Excuse me as I take a sip of water. I'm trying to keep the scratchiness out of my throat, because you don't want to hear me coughing and sneezing and hacking and whatnot. That would not be a good audio experience for you. Not at all. The other thing I want to talk about is a year in review, kind of. There's been some rough spots for a lot of us. Hopefully there's been more highs than lows. More awesome things than terrible things for you. I know there has been for me. There's been a lot of positive things. I made a lot of new friends this year that I am truly grateful for. And honestly, a friendship like that is something that I'm going to treasure and I'm going to appreciate a lot more than physical or material things. So thank you to everyone that's listened to my podcast over the past year or so. Thank you for coming back every week. I appreciate you. I love you. Excuse me. I try to avoid that. I hope you learned something from this. I hope you got something out of it. And I hope you keep coming back. So enjoy the last year of 2022. May 2023 be a lot better in every way possible. I love you all, and God bless.